Hello, world. All right. So, everyone joining us today on Twitch. This is going to be a finals match for TTS Season 7. It's April the 4th, 2022. And today we have a match between. Um, we have a match between Big Blake and CoffeeTime.
Can you
Tonight.
hear me?
Yes, there he is. Just right on cue. Tonight we'll be joined by fantastic Mr. Will from House Party Protocol as
Can you
co-commentator.
hear me, QTR?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? No, we're having audio issues already.
I
Excellent.
can't hear you. Okay.
I can hear you.
Well,
So let's see. Our competitors have picked crises. We've got a spider infected at 17. We've got superpowered scoundrels at 20 points. And not exactly sure who's got priority right now, but I'm sure we'll be able to figure that out for you guys at home. Sooner
oh, we're gonna
rather
figure
than
it
later.
out now that I can actually hear you.
Oh, there he is. I give you. You missed it. I had an awesome introduction for you, and you chimed in on the phone call like exactly on point, and then you're like, "Wait, I can't hear anything," and I was like, "Damn it, we almost had it."
Dang it. It was gonna be close. It would have been too serendipitous. You know what I mean?
No, it's a big word, and I don't know what you mean, but I'll take your word for it.
Right. All right, now let me get in this room and let me see what's happening with this action.
Hell yeah,
I'm stoked to be here tonight. This is exciting.
yeah, I'm very excited. This is the first finals match that I've had the pleasure of watching or being involved in, so I'm here. I'm really ready for this one. I think.
Yeah, I've watched one, and it was the recent one between Jacob and Morgan, and let me tell you, that was very interesting. And yeah, this will be my first time commentating, but it's commentating the word? Is it? That's the word, right?
Doing commentary.
Yes, there you go.
I like doing things. Commentary is a
Yes,
thing. Let's do that.
it is.
uh, all right. So, what do you think about tonight's matchup? We've got Coffee Time, and I know that's a name that gets thrown around a lot. I think he's also been one of the accusers in the past, if he's not currently. And we got Blake, which is a player I'm not familiar with seeing around. So, are they maybe they're new?
Yeah, I mean, Coffee Time's been around for a while. I played with Coffee Time in the league, the auction league thing we did, like right after I think it was She-Hulk came out. He's
Right.
he's a good guy. He knows what's up. And Blake, I have no idea, but I'm excited to find out tonight.
All right. Well, it looks like we've got some selections coming up. Okay, and we've confirmed priority is going to Blake. Looks like the players are loading in with some squads. I think I see something with two gems. Thanos? Thanos and Black Order, probably? Which is something I've been seeing included in a lot of players' lists all season.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's everywhere right now. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, it's like a good anchor point, right? It gives you a lot of things that you can do with very few like give ups or sacrifices in your list construction, and
Right.
and then whatever you're filling the other seven or so slots in your roster with in terms of characters and the remaining tactics cards you're going to take, you can usually cover most of the other situations with that sort of setup. So
Exactly. Yeah, and he is arguably the best control piece in the game.
I think he does bring a lot of innate control to the board, and I
Hmm.
think that like it feels like a lot of people make that assessment. And the arguable part about this is that it feels like it's because of the space he exists in, right? So he's a monster control force when he is in Black Order like that, or if he's being introduced into another squad as that control piece. But I think that
Hmm.
the case should be made that there are many other types of control in this game, and there are many other tools that you can use for that sort of control. It just may not be felt as much as we perceive Thanos to be, because it's
Yeah.
like it's all in one place and it's just easily accessible, and he does it innately, that sort of things. But there's certainly a good argument to be made for that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's like you said, he just does so much, and as someone who has been playing with who I would argue is the best control piece in the game, and that's Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme lately. He's yeah, Thanos just it's all in one package.
Listen,
You know,
we don't talk about that scalpel, okay?
I mean, look, it is the scalpel of Strange, and it is legit. Too legit to quit, you might say.
This is interesting. I don't actually know what's going on here. I think this. I thought it was Black Order, but I think it's Criminal Syndicate instead.
Oh no, already with the curveballs.
Well, it wouldn't be a finals match if that weren't the case, right? Um,
Exactly.
okay, so we'll give them the rundown here. We've got Blake as priority player, so we'll start with there. We've got looks like a Sin-led Criminal Syndicate roster with Sin, Bullseye, Killmonger, and the spicy Thanos with 2 gems. And on the other side, oh, and for tactics cards, we have 5. We have Follow Me, great. We have Indomitable. We have Usurp the Throne. We
Of
have
course.
Medpack and Dark Rain. And why don't you give us the rundown for what we're seeing on the other side of the board here?
Well, I would if I could log into the room, but it says it's full right now, so I'm actually having to watch your stream
Oh
while
no.
commentarying.
Oh no. We'll see if we can fix that. Um,
Yeah,
but I'll
I don't
finish
know
the rosters
how to
first.
fix that. Yeah. Yeah, all
um,
right. So I'm seeing the picture of what you got right here. So it's looking we've got an X-Men roster and it's a Storm-led X-Men roster. So we've got Storm, Beast, X-23 and her little sis, the Honey Badger. And then a Hulkbuster, ladies and gentlemen. And for tactics cards, we've got a sweet Brace for Impact, a To Me My X-Men, Field Dressing, Exceptional Healing, and I think that's Jonathan the Unstoppable on the end. It sure is because I see the token right there. Holy moly.
that's a vicious token. That might
It
be
is.
my new favorite token, behind the obsession token.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great. I don't it's one of those things where it's very scenario dependent, but when you look at what this scenario that they're on right now, superpowered scoundrels and the spider infected, I mean, it's it's really good for that because okay, if Coffee is able to get that token down on an area of the table that Blake doesn't want to commit to, well then that token's just going to stay there and score free victory points.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean I don't know how this Sin roster is gonna go, but oof, it's
This
certainly
is
gonna
out of
put the
control.
pinch on him. We've got a
This is
lot
out of
of
control.
we've got a lot of characters on the right side of the board here, so I'm thinking that even with priority, we might have passed on Blake's side.
Yeah, this is really something interesting. And wow, this is already moving. They're moving right along using Hulkbuster here to move these models and everything. Use that big base to get up the board with Storm's leadership, which is such a unique leadership. It's got the double effect, which I really, really like. And using that big base to get that extra bit of range is really great, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hulkbuster's starting to prove to be like a monster piece. That's another good control piece that we were kind of talking about earlier. Um, so we've got a
Exactly.
central extract steel here. I think this is a pretty cool move. It's a variation on the beast jump, but wherein you would have
Mm-hmm.
beast place with his large base and then be able to move, grab something and move back. But we've done it by
Mm-hmm.
using Hulkbuster as a beacon. And then we've gotten X-23 up and back. So center extract's gone, and that's going to be well, that's going to be money in the bank for coffee time. Um, well, I'm putting the stream up on the call in Discord. Is that any less laggy for you?
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay,
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, I'm watching him off of Bullseye right now.
perfect. All right, so we're all synced up. So that should be technical difficulties taken care of a little
Perfect.
bit.
Exactly. So I want to go back to this turn one mid extract steal thing because it's a strategy that has been around for a minute now, and it's one that I think is really effective. And going up on such a wide scenario here. You're playing with 10 victory points on the board at any one time. And so that's a huge swing if you can get an advantage early. But grabbing that with X23, I think, is very interesting because X23 is pretty darn good at the murder face situation. And if you can put that murder pressure onto a low activation list like this, I think it's really interesting. And now you've already activated your arguably best murder piece. Hulkbuster's great, don't get me wrong, but your most consistent murder piece has already been activated. So I think that's really interesting. And then having a spider infected on her at that means that okay, she could be out of position now.
So I think that there's two things to consider with that. The central extract steal is a way for you to put pressure up on your opponent, and as the wider list, I think he definitely wants to grab it. You want to grab as many spider infected as possible in this scenario if you're X-Men, and I think that facing
Absolutely.
down Killmonger and Thanos, if I were the X-Men player, I would be looking to score out rather than kill anyone. What X-23 is right now is a somewhat higher than average durability extract holder. She doesn't need to be killing this game. And I think that if you were to dive in with her, it might be something that causes an issue later. Being too aggressive is just going to get that character ripped off the table. Jumping forward,
Yeah,
grabbing the extract, moving back. At this point, you're kind of just praying that she's out of Thanos range, I think.
exactly. Exactly. And his Thanos has the reality and the space gem, which like I know reality and space Thanos is a thing, but I'm so used to seeing space and mind that it really kind of takes a little bit of that control element away, I think, but it also gets his team where they want to be more so than controlling the opponent's team, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah. And so the reality gem, to remind everybody, is when rolling as part of an attack or defense or dodge, or an interact roll, you're treating one skull in that roll as a crit. And this is the one that you often see paired with Corvus Glaive for the extra damage output. And you're going to see that this Thanos is either going to be good at rolling at center extracts. Not the case here. We're not something we need to be concerned about here. But he is going to be when he decides to get his hands dirty, he's going to make those hits count. So he may
Oh
be
yeah.
using Thanos as more of an aggressive piece in this sort of case. Bold plan.
Yeah,
Let's
I
see
can
how that
see
works
that.
out for him.
And I think it also exactly. It also helps him with like he's got to get maximum value out of Killmonger in this matchup, and I think Sin too becomes a really important piece here. And having a Thanos that can control a little bit of his team with the Cosmic Portal, and then also control, help his own team with the Space Gem, I think it makes things really interesting for what I think the plan here. And we'll see if this unfolds. But I'm going to go ahead and have a bold call here. It is to use the, what is it, Death's Decree as often as possible, more so than anything else.
Perhaps. I think you definitely want to, you want to keep your eye on having those aggro options available to you. But if you, as the taller list, you need to stay flexible. You need to be able to respond
Exactly.
to the scenario pressure that the opponent's going to be putting on you. That was a cheeky move. He was able to punch Beast and got some damage in, built some extra power, and with that power, I think he spent that down to place his place the Hulkbuster even further away from the business area of the board right now.
Yep. Yeah, the business area of the board known as the middle where all the action is. And then, oh yeah, the fun little let's bring Honey Badger and just walking incinerate situation.
Just tamped in right on that objective. Isn't math
Exactly.
great? Can't be outside of 1 inch of Honey Badger if she's standing on the objective. Haha!
Got him. Got
Nailed it.
him.
Diameter jokes. That's what you guys came here for, right?
They're the best thing. That's exactly what they came here for. I'm pretty sure of it. So this is interesting. Killmonger probably wants to get up there and deal with the old Badger, but I don't know if he can reach her. Oh, nope. Everybody's incinerated now. This is wonderful.
Oh, yeah, it's
I'm
pseudo
here for
incinerate
this.
for Hunter Better, right? Yeah. I think he's just staring into the skid.
Exactly. Yeah.
Next turn, he's probably gonna wake up and give her the business end of the stick.
Oh, yeah. And luckily, he's going to have priority, so you're going to be able to do some fun things here, I think.
Yeah, he's certainly going to have his choice of activation options. Um, and the other thing is that his movement of Killmonger there is probably an attempt to guard against Thanos getting Hulkbuster pushed, because that Hulkbuster basic attack with the energy, I believe it can push any
Hmm.
size still, right?
Yes, it is an any size push, so definitely guarding against that I think is nice. Because, again, like we talked about a few minutes ago, this version of Thanos wants to be up in the thick of it, so being able to keep him where he wants him to be, I think is going to be very important. And Hulkbuster is a really great control piece too, interestingly enough.
That's right.
with,
A lot of these big
with the
boys,
pushes, and they do the thing. They do their thing.
they do the thing. They look great as centerpiece models too. I bought my Hulkbuster, maybe a couple weeks ago. Finally put it together. Haven't started painting it yet though. Let's not get carried away.
Yeah. No, no. I'm literally doing this right now at my paint bench, staring at all my unopened paints and all my sad gray models. So here we are, the life of a hobbyist.
That's right. I love
You
those
know,
memes where they
we do
show a
it for the
picture of
memes.
a giant empty house, and it's like, here's my bathroom, here's my kitchen, and then the rest of the space is dominated by unpainted miniatures.
Yes. This is my life.
That's right.
I live in that house. So it looks like we're getting a hit and run here from Hulkbuster, right?
Yep. I love that he
Yep.
starts with the 2 power that makes him able to use that right away. I think it really
Oh, it's
is
so
something
wonderful.
that makes him work.
Yeah,
Crit,
definitely.
two
Without a
wilds.
doubt.
So go bleed 2 damage on Thanos. And
Nice.
now where
That's
do we
pretty good.
redirect our Hulkbuster?
He's got to come over here and support this point that Beast lost, right?
So yeah, I mean that gains him a point straight up. So that's not a bad option.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
he's not gonna
And
make a
he
difference on
can
the center.
exactly. And he can place himself to where he's instant threat right away at that range with his range 3 attack. And I think his meteor punch, he might be in range for a meteor punch there too.
Yeah. He's backstopping Beast. He's scoring a point. It's a great move.
Yeah, I think it's pretty wonderful. Man, I can't wait to see what he does with Killmonger because I'm over here looking at Killmonger and just thinking to myself, man, that dude is gonna go ham on somebody, and I can't wait to see it. Get a little kill count tokens going, use Honey Badger to gain a few kill counts, and then off to the races.
Yeah. So just to confirm, I believe that Killmonger did activate earlier in the round. Um, I think
Yes.
I think he just double moved up, and I think we're just missing an activation token over there. Looks like we're transitioning to round 2, and we're going to be rolling for Spider Infected. Um,
So our
Any
score right
info
now
for
is
that?
tied 5-5.
That's right. So this is interesting. I think this is the
Pretty
first
awesome.
finals game I've witnessed with where we've had the clock in play, right? So right now we're in
Hmm.
the the start of turn section, and we're rolling on Spider Infected and discussing what happens. I've noticed that the game clock is ticking down, but there's no time being billed to either player's player clock. So for the
So
folks that are watching
another
at
thing they're
home,
doing right now,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt here. Sin's leadership.
Oh, is that what we're
You got
doing?
to think about that too. Yeah, so Sin's leadership happens in the cleanup phase, and I think Spider Infected happens during the power phase.
Yes, that's right. So we may drop those
So
spiders before they even get a chance to be used.
Exactly.
Let's see. Let's take a quick refresher of what that actually does. So during the cleanup phase, you're right. We can. So for basically for any one of Sin's characters, Sin's team, um, that is contesting an objective token, whether it's be an extract or secure or whatever, um, you're going to roll a die, and any enemy characters that are contesting that also, they're going to get pushed away, and that's for like the stationary stuff on the ground. One of these bunkers that they're fighting over, and the other part of that leadership is that for every enemy character that's holding an objective, an extract objective, while they're within range 2 of your characters, you're going to roll a die, and they might drop their objective. So that's what we were talking about. They might drop it in the cleanup phase, and then they won't have it on their character to be moved in the power phase, which is where we're headed now.
Exactly. And having played a fair bit of Sin Cabal actually myself, it's one of those really hit or miss leaderships, but when it hits, it's really nice because it forces your opponent to make tough decisions. And I think the only character that it looks like is gonna really be impacted by it is Honey Badger here, and it doesn't look like she got the role or that the role was right. But
Didn't hit the
yeah, this is
50-50.
really interesting here. Exactly.
I think we're activating Thanos early in the round here.
So
This
he
is
portaled
fun.
over. Yeah.
He teleported Hulkbuster and then teleported himself. Thanos, where are you going, buddy? Think he's trying to throw
Yeah.
Hulkbuster into Beast?
I think he's trying to throw Hulkbuster into somebody, but like I would want to throw him into X-23 because she's got an objective and she's got less physical defense. So
Yeah, but it's
that's who I
throwaway.
would go for.
I don't think there's a line in
Hmm.
between that. Where's that box, that cargo? Like if you were to pitch him
Correct.
away from the original position that Thanos was in, I just think you would bump
Hmm.
up against this thing. You wouldn't be able to hit her. So I think maybe he's just
Yep.
fishing for the wilds and going for exactly that. Well, there's brace for impact been burned, so tax card's out of hand
Yep.
now. Forcing that decision early.
Always.
Beast
Yeah.
is pretty
And
durable.
on a size 4 character,
Right. Beast is pretty durable, but he's not that durable. Doing it again.
exactly.
No wilds this time, but we got a skull crit, and that doesn't come up either.
I like to call those scrits. Those are scrits.
Will, you got to warn me when you say stuff like that, so I'm not taking a drink. I'm gonna spit out my beer, buddy.
No, that's what needs to happen. Yeah, see, I'm going to make sure to try to time it like that every time now. And we're not on video for those of you watching at home, so I can't see when he's doing these things. So it's definitely about to happen.
That's right.
It's gonna be great.
That's right.
It's gonna
You
be
got to pay
wonderful.
for content like that.
Man, this is a level of control here that I just love seeing. I love seeing it. Portaling everybody into oblivion.
Oof. Yeah. I mean, that's a good Thanos activation for you.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh
So
yeah.
we're
Activate him
actually
early, get maximum value.
tied up on points in round 2 here, with an odd number of extracts and an odd number of secures. I didn't think that they were gonna tie round 1, but hey, I mean, that's why these guys are here in the finals, right?
That's it. That's
Like,
definitely it. And
it's speaking a lot to the
these
control of
guys,
Thanos, right? Because he was able to displace more characters on the enemy team has more people, so yeah, that's not a small feat.
no. And then what you do when you're Thanos there doing that, especially what he did to X-23 there, right? Yeeted her off into the side, right? There's only one character on that really side of the board is Sin. He could go after Thanos, but let's be honest, it's probably a recipe for disaster. And he made it to where functionally now she is staggered because she has to spend an action to do anything.
That's right. Yeah, just to
And I
get back in
really
the
like
game,
that. I really like that.
she is gonna suffer for it.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's one of those unique kind of ways that I think that when you're playing a control style game, and even I'm guilty of this. When I first looked at this list that Blake brought, I'm like, okay, so I mean, I even said it. It's going to be Desecree City, and we're going to just everything's going to be murdered. And using Thanos for that hard control that he has is going to be really clutch, and it's going to force Coffee into some tough decisions because I think that his X-Men. I don't think they want to fight per se, but I think that they can effectively very well do some fighting. And if he's able to kind of get a daze here, I think he can take a victory point lead. But it's going to be really interesting to see how it all works out.
I agree. All right, so we should be back to Coffee Time's activation, I think, after Thanos is done. We're rolling what?
Yeah, I think he's
Six
mulling over
dice.
a.
That sounds like a
Oh,
Hulkbuster shot. Yeah, 6 dice
sounds
energy.
like a Hulk shot into a now 2 dice Killmonger there
Yeah,
because of the
yikes.
Honey Badger. Got one block out of it though. That's pretty good to only get a block on 2 dice. I'll take it anytime.
Yeah, it's very good for him. Although, was there cover involved? I
I think
see
he's within
four
two.
hits and 2 damage was taken, and only one wild was rolled, right?
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's check. Whoa.
This looks like a job for an
Sorry, everybody.
accuser.
Yes. We have people we can speak to about this.
Yeah. I think what the decision here for Coffee is, do I want to double tap into Killmonger? And Dan, let me ask you, would you want to go for the double tap into Killmonger here and try to get that activation off the board?
Well, you're the wider player, and so you're probably not going to be. Um, you're probably not going to be recovering that priority anytime soon. So there's an argument to be made of just steering into that skid. And by the way, I got clarification. Since Hulkbuster is not contesting the central objective on this crisis, Killmonger has cover in the situation from the objective marker.
There you go.
So that
There
is
you go.
the explanation for the damage difference there. Um, yep. Read your crisis cards, everybody.
That's right. The more you know,
Superpower
the more you
scoundrels. Yeah,
know.
where's that rainbow gif? We gotta throw that up on the stream.
Exactly.
Fix that one in post.
Exactly. So
No, we won't.
fix it in post because we're live right now. Yes. Yeah, this is going to be really interesting because I don't know how I play this game, and this is not about me, obviously, but how I would play. I would want Killmonger's activation off the board because, like you said, you're not getting priority back anytime soon. So if you can get him off the board here and hope that that you didn't push him out of Honey Badger range, oh darn.
Pushed him out of Honey Badger range, but he's now no longer contesting the objective, so he won't gain cover.
Exactly.
I actually think
Exactly.
I would prefer 2 dice with cover to just 3 dice.
I absolutely would prefer 2 dice with cover because it's a guaranteed success.
Yeah, provided you're not sculling across the board. We can't make these scrits, right?
Exactly. No scripts for you. And
God,
it's
reality
just really
Killmonger.
interesting strategy
Oh.
here. Oh man, that'd be nasty.
That's right.
Be nasty. Did he just do a meteor punch into him? Please tell me he's doing meteor punch. Oh, he's throwing something at him.
Yeah, I think that hauler is a size 3 or 4, right? That's a big beef. Yeah, it's a size 4 terrain.
Because he's
He's
mad
mad.
now.
He's mad now. Yeah, that's right. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. He's trying to put Killmonger to sleep. That's a hate crime.
It's
He's got one shot here.
yeah, you got his socks rocked there, and now we're gonna probably laser him.
Oh yeah, the heavy repulsor blast. It's unfortunate that he didn't get just one more power to do a hit and run and go score an objective here, but he's got enough activations. I think he can get his objective situation. Oh yeah, there it was.
So funny story about
Oof,
how
nasty roll too.
in X-Men he can still place within range 1 of Honey Badger and secure the center.
That's right.
But he might be
And
saving it
then no
for
one
more
is securing
devious
it but him.
purposes. He might even use it to try and help get X-23 back in the game here. We'll see. Looks like we're going to have a response from the leader, Sin. I noticed that Storm was able to wonderfully walk into pistol range, so stealth isn't going to save her.
I know, right?
Spider infected.
I love
Thanks.
Sin. She is so good. So good.
You want to talk
Just
about
little
more
double tap
unpainted
action,
models
little
sitting
hit and
downstairs?
run. Yeah, my it's so many. There's just so many. It's a pile of shame, but I'm not ashamed of it at all because it's okay.
We live in it.
You know what I mean? It is what it is.
So I like the call out you made for hit and run because both of these characters have stealth. So Sin here getting the jump on her, Sin's able to just open up with a couple of pistol shots, and on the last attack, she could pay for a hit and run and scoot back out of range 3 and still be securing this objective, but now Storm can't double tap as a response.
Exactly. And I mean, the roles have seemingly gone awry here. I mean, it's like I think it was really good defense while also mediocre offense roles, and for whatever reason, Storm seemingly has taken no damage here.
Well, there is still always the X-Men cover,
That's how to,
and I'm sure that came up as well.
exactly. Exactly. So I think that's really awesome. And like you said, it's avoiding the double tap clap back to where Sin could get shocked, and then that's a super sad Sin.
That's right. Though there's a play here, I think, with enough power. Storm. So currently she doesn't have enough power, but I'd be looking for trying to move to that corner objective, maybe build some power, and if I get enough, I can toss Sin into that scrum in the middle of the field.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Or
I
toss
would love that so much. Yeah, you
Sin
just
behind me, maybe, and X-23 can get to her. There's all sorts of a
oh
lot of people
yeah.
do forget that Storm comes with a throw, and it's a range 3 throw. It's not. It's expensive, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a range 3, and that's the thing. Like it really can turn the tide in certain things. And again, Storm has stealth by another name, and so being able to attack, throw someone out of range for a clapback, I think is just wonderful. You've just always got to hope the dice just go your way.
Right. Ooh.
Oh, she's shocked though. That is a sad Sin.
And I think we've got enough power for a throw now too. Question is whether she uses it or not.
It sure seems that way.
Tempest does cost 3.
Yeah, and I think you've got to here, right? Because it's a 2-point swing.
I mean, I know it. I think it just translates to 1 point in this case because they're both healthy. They're both contesting it, but it could have been a 2-point swing, or it could end up being a 2-point swing if Sin's leadership goes well, because you might end up seeing Storm drop a spider infected as well as the chance that she leaves that secure. And to be fair, they do have to be done in order, so she might move off of the secure and then be outside range 2, depending on how we see her moved. But oh well, it's probably not going to matter. Got a daze.
Not going to matter because somebody's getting thrown. Oh, never mind. Somebody's getting dazed.
Yeah, geez.
Look at that. Man, I was not expecting that to happen.
The leadership doesn't matter because an injured character is still contesting, and they should end up flipping over to their injured side prior to this leadership needing to be evaluated.
Let's check the tape on that. I'll pull
Let's check
up
the tape.
those rules
Yeah,
right now.
that's right. I think it's I think it stays character slip over and then crisis effects and then player effects. Or maybe player effects and then crisis effects.
So while I'm looking this up, I'm also want to talk about the fact that, again, having a few reps with Sin, something that I've learned is that that 4 health on her healthy side is such a liability.
It is.
Like you have really got to work around keeping her healthy as long as possible. And it's really hard to do.
Yeah, I always feel like Sam Wilson is going to go down like a sack of potatoes, and I'd imagine it's even more exacerbated with a character like Sin. It's one of the reasons it keeps me
Oh,
off of
most definitely.
running Deadpool and Avengers. I'd love to play him as Avengers, and I think him yelling at people for 1 power under Steve Rogers is pretty great. Um,
Oh,
but 4
yes,
health
that
on
would
his
be
healthy side,
wonderful.
it just makes him a liability in the early game. I feel like.
I agree. I agree. It's just so tough. Now, then when you get on that injured side and you're over there contesting objectives while you're injured, that's pretty spicy too.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Oh, it looks like Bullseye may have pulled out the needles and went straight for Honey Badger in the center of the table here. She took a wallop
Nice.
from
Two
that.
on two action.
Several damage and a bleed, I think, from that activation.
Oh, yeah. So if she doesn't shake that, she's going down
That's right.
because the
One
bleed
power
happens
left.
before the healing factor.
I mean, she's already in a
Man,
reasonably good position here. You might just try to reposition her and shake. I'm not even sure she needs to make an attack, but she is kind of keeping everyone else away from contesting that center objective in case they want to get that pseudo incinerate on them. So
hmm
it's a tough
and
choice to
back
make.
to our discussion, it really is. Back to our discussion about the
Oh my
Sin
goodness.
leadership here. So players score victory points, then resolve player effects that occur during the cleanup phase. So her leadership is the player effect, and then you skip a couple steps, and then it's you remove the damage and flip the token, all that stuff.
Aha.
So I don't think that her leadership's going to pop there.
I think you're right. I think because she's dazed, while she still has a leadership, she doesn't and no superpowers. She is not currently contesting it.
Exactly. It's all in the wording on the leadership there, you know?
However, I do think the second half triggers because she doesn't have to contest the enemy character. She just has to be within 2 of them. And even though she's dazed, she is still a character that is within 2 of an enemy character.
This is true. That's a sticky situation there, and yeah, I'm gonna need a rules lawyer on this one because I don't know. Can we go to the rules expert? We have a rules expert on standby for this show, right? Yeah, of course we do.
Survey says. Yeah. Speaking of rules experts,
Oh yeah, Beast
Shadow
scoring
Marvel
points.
is our table judge tonight. So thank you very much to Shadow Marvel for judging the game and giving our players a safe and welcoming environment to which to enjoy this wonderful game. Brought to you by
That's
the good
right, and
folks
also being
over
a
at Atomic
hardliner.
Mass Games. Yes, that's right. Take no prisoners.
Take no prisoners.
What was that quote from Judge Dredd? You know what I'm talking about.
Which one? I am the law.
That's right. We got there. All right, X-23 succeeding in being a durable extract carrier, now also on an objective. Or on a secure.
That's right. That's 2 points right there, and relative safety for those 2 points too.
That's right. So, are you willing to
It's,
bet what round this goes to? We're already at 5-5 after round one. After round two, we're
oh, I
looking
think
at
we're
an uptick of another 3 to 5 points per player. Do we see round four in this game?
Yeah, no. I'd say that's 1,000 to 1 odds right here. I'm not giving those odds. Don't anybody this isn't O'Day sports book over here. But yeah, no. I think that's probably a fair thought that we're probably not seeing a round four here because looking at the board state right now, I mean, Coffee is in complete control.
Yeah, I think the numbers advantage is showing its strength here. Um, and he's not playing a really swarmy list or anything, but it's wide enough that he's able to leverage that advantage, especially with a robbing him of one activation in the Killmonger days.
Exactly.
It was at the perfect time too because Thanos had just spent a bunch of power and moved away, so there'd be no ability to heal him or do any of that stuff. We don't have a field dressing out on that side of the table, but at the same point in time, you've already stretched out the resources that you have and the minimal number of characters that you've brought. So it
Exactly.
those tall
And
lists are super
let's not
fun, but
forget
they're
now,
not forgiving.
not at all. And the thing is, when Blake flips both Killmonger and Sin, they're both still okay on their injured sides, but like you're in a real danger zone there. And with Killmonger staring down a Hulkbuster, I mean, you've almost got to activate him first. You've almost got to go right away with him. You've got to pop Usurp, and you just got to, I think, go for it.
And
Because if you don't, you might not get a chance.
at this point, also you've got power on Thanos again. So if your first activation is Killmonger with Usurp, and you can do a Spender, and Thanos Death decrees it, that's a bucket load of
Hang
dice.
on, I got this too. Let's sprinkle the little extra bit of cayenne on this thing. Sin wakes up, plays Dark Reign on Hulkbuster, and now it's full rerolls
But
onto Hulkbuster. Yes,
the question is whether he one shots him or not.
that's the thing. I mean, he's gonna get two shots. Because he's right there next to him. He's gonna have two opportunities. I'm really excited to see how this turns out because you know
If you got the extra power, charge
that
onto the
that to
central
me it's
objective to pop off the Jonathan token.
yep,
Oof.
definitely. I mean, don't give free points.
We're still doing spiders here, I think.
Oh,
Looks like.
spider infected. Yep. Sin's leadership, I guess, didn't have any fun results. That's unfortunate. I always like it when her leadership pops off because it's so random. Then again, I guess it wouldn't have really popped off because there was no one within range for it to pop off onto. So there you go. It's important to note also with the spider infected that it is an advance. It's not a push, so terrain and stuff like that can be a very interesting factor.
Yeah. A lot of people get those. A lot of people that get those mixed up. But the rules are
Shoot,
pretty
I do
clear.
all the time.
Different movement types, right?
Yep.
And I did get a bit of clarification
Yep.
and another vote for reading comprehension here. Sin's leadership for the extracts only applies to assets, but not
Yeah.
civilians.
Yes. That's right. Which is such a weird wording. Which is why when I see spider infected, man, playing Sin Cabal, like that's just baller. Here it is. Here it is. Here it comes.
We got it. We got the Dark Rain,
Yep.
and also it looks like there's a card buried under there. I'll bet I know which one it is.
It's the usurp. It's usurp, right? Dark Reign usurp.
All right, sorry, yeah, I think Usurp's on top. I gave it away. I gave it away. We're gonna
So you were trying to bury the
charge.
lead, and here I am just kicking down the door.
No, no, I just straight up said the wrong card. I was looking at the Usurp and then I said Dark Rain.
There you go.
Womp
It's
womp.
okay. Womp womp.
One of these days I will succeed in not embarrassing myself on the internet.
Not,
Yeah, right.
not embarrassing at all. Not embarrassing at all. You nailed it every time. Every time. So this is interesting because you only get the points on usurp if you kill the highest threat on the opponent's team. So he's got to go into Hulkbuster with that if he wants the points, and I think he needs the points to feel good
11.
about staying in this game.
11 loaded up here.
Whew. That's spicy. And Coffee here has to decide to reduce the damage before dice are rolled with his built to take it, which I think is very interesting as well.
Yeah, and I
Now,
think that it's.
does he even bother?
Uh, I mean, yes, right? You've got eight
Yes,
HP or
exactly.
something.
The
He's
answer
got
to me is
11 HP.
yes.
Yeah, you
You
want
will
to spend it
still
because if you
you
can
still
shave
do it.
off one on
Exactly.
each of the attacks coming at you, all you need is one die roll to go flat, and Hulkbuster survives, gets loaded up on power, and just
Oh
bodies
man.
somebody because of it.
Yeah, but look at this roll. We're looking before rerolls. It looks like I haven't seen him do any rerolls yet. We're looking at 7 successes.
So, question: do you pick up the hit dice and reroll the hit dice, and then just count shields instead?
You know, I wouldn't be upset at that. It looks like he did. It looks like everything's been done here. But like, if I see a roll like this and he's reducing it by one already, like he's paid for that, then yeah, like I want as much damage as possible. Because dice are gonna dice, man. You don't know what way they're gonna go. You can do reroll city and still fall flat, or Coffee could explode 2 crits into 2 more blocks. On his defense roll. You just never know. So like I would think you could actually. There's a case for that.
Yeah, and you really want to maximize the amount of damage you can get out of this. Um,
Exactly.
Looks like we're at 9 out of 13 damage done to Hulkbuster. And we've still got, at
Yep.
the time, we had 10 power on Killmonger still. So it looks like we're going to go and do a big spender attack here.
Oh yeah, Black Ops Strike seems. Isn't that what it's called? Black Ops Strike, I think it's.
Yes, I think that is it.
Yeah,
So I think the charge
I'm here for it.
was to get him to within range 2, to make sure he doesn't get any cover from Storm's leadership. But Black Ops Strike's going to end up placing him, I believe. I think he just goes back to the middle of the board.
Yeah, it's placed within one. Mm-hmm. Clears
Tries,
off Jonathan, maybe.
yeah, tries to get that Jonathan token out of the way.
Yeah, this is gonna be. Oh, here you go. Perfect time for special forces. Reroll that hit. Look at all those skulls, man. Look at all those
Oh
skulls.
my goodness.
See, and that's what I'm saying, man. You got to take as much as you can on that first one. And so his first attack got Death's Decreed, right?
Yeah, he was up to 11 dice by the end of it, and I think he's, 5 dice on his basic attack, plus 4 from
Yep.
being injured on Death's Decree. So we're up to 9,
Hmm.
and then 2 from Usurp the Throne.
Yep. And look at that. 1 damage left,
And
people.
you were asking, do I spend the power?
Hey, I knew what the answer was, okay? I was just trying to create a little drama here, you know.
Testing me, seeing if I knew. Yeah, you always spend that power, man.
That's it. That's it. You always spend the power. Every time, man. Every time. But, man, oh my goodness. I can't believe it worked out like this. I really can't. Like, this is insane to me.
Yeah, it certainly is going to
One
allow
health.
Coffee Time to push this advantage, I think. He's going to.
Oh, absolutely. Coffee Time can win this turn pretty easily, I think, barring a few very unfortunate dice rolls.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, this I think it's just one of those things where because he has that extract advantage, because he now has that activation advantage. I mean, you've got to activate Hulkbuster here to at least get something out of the big guy this turn, I think. But like you can press this advantage pretty good here, I think.
I agree.
Interesting to note here that he did not place Killmonger within range 1 there after the Black Ops strike. I
Um,
can't quite see. I'm sure pretty sure that 50 millimeter base of Beast is not range 1.
no, you're right about that. I can only wonder if they were discussing something else.
Quite possible. And by the way, for those of you watching at home, we do not hear what they're discussing while they're playing, so we're just going off the cuff here, which is the best place to go off of.
That's right. Flying by the seat of my pants. Wouldn't have it any other way.
That's right. This has been an exciting match, though. Like it's going fast. This match is going very fast, but this has been really exciting and kind of a testament to what you're going to see when people talk about wide versus tall lists and kind of how to maximize each one. And I know, Dan, you have played kind of both types of, oh, there he goes. There's the place.
Yep.
Uh, both types of lists, right? And what do you find that you prefer most?
So I'll be honest with you. My comfort zone is five wide rosters. I've thought that since I started
Hmm.
playing the game, like just before the pandemic hit us at the end of 2019, early 2020, and
Yeah.
I've always felt like that. I ended up going to like four wide rosters with some heavier control stuff. I ended up playing like the really big swarm lists, but five and six wide is just kind of what sings to me about this game. So I really like
Yeah.
those varied threat levels and the different characters you can bring. And I really think that those games tend to be a bit more dynamic. And a lot of times it just comes from me being more comfortable with the extra activations that I can utilize. And a bit rosters that are a tad bit wider are often ones that are a bit more forgiving when you're playing them too.
Oh, absolutely. I could see that for sure. It's one of those things I think where, looking at actions and activations a bit as a resource. And when you're playing a tall list like this, like we talked about earlier, Thanos placing those characters off with his superpowers and stuff like that, that's really good because it takes some of that action economy and messes with it a little bit. But it still doesn't make up for the fact that your opponent has a whole other activation.
That's right.
Looks like we got East going here. Very interesting. Okay.
So I gotta ask you, is a player that I know is fond of playing the longer game. Um,
Yeah. The long game indeed.
spoilers. We played last week. It was forever. Um,
Yes, it,
so
it, it was a shift at work.
Jesus. Um, so how do you think the clocks are going to affect this final season? I know that we have some veteran tournament players up there in the finales,
Yeah.
but a lot of players have expressed that they've not used clocks before. Do you think it's going to drastically increase the number of, say, unforced errors that we see this season with, uh, players that are just simply not used to it, kind of feeling an extra bit of pressure when they're already arguably under a lot of pressure for these finals? Do you think it's going to negatively impact the quality of the games?
You know, I think it won't, if I'm being completely honest. I think that by and large, it's it's a very forgiving clock here. So you mentioned tournament players. Most tournaments you go to, you're going to have a clock hour and a half on the short end, hour 45 in my opinion the sweet spot, or hour and or 2 hours, I guess, as kind of the higher end of a tournament timer, right? And that's 2 hours to set up, sit down, do everything. It does not stop, that kind of stuff, right? So that does put a lot of pressure on you. I think the difference between that setting and a live tournament versus what we have here that speaks to me and kind of like how I don't think it's going to have a ton of pressure is that you're not seeing the let me see how I want to phrase this. 'Cause I'm trying to like my train of thought is running and then it just went right off the rails there in case anybody didn't see that.
Was it
But
derailed by this whole
but the
cluster
pressure of
activation?
this clock. Yeah, I'm over here like what's happening right now? I think this is a Thanos activation actually, and it's something crazy is going on. I don't even know what's happening. But I think that the clock each player gets an hour and 15 minutes, I think.
I did see that. Yes,
So
that's correct. Hour and 15.
So each player having an hour and 15 minutes, and then a total game clock of 3 hours. That's more than enough time to get a game in. I mean, that's more than enough time. And so while you might see somebody have like a 7 wide at 20 points, like, is that player going to be feeling a little bit of pressure? Probably.
A
But I
lot of the
think
guys to
in
move around.
general, exactly. In general, I don't think you're going to see that. And look, I mean, just look at the clock that we're on right now, right? You look at Blake's clock. He's got 55 minutes
20
left,
minutes.
basically, right?
Yeah, he's used
Yeah, he's
20
used
minutes
20 minutes, and
and
yeah,
less than that.
and
17 on Coffee Time
right,
side or and change. And the game clock down
right,
from 3 hours has only been 45 minutes have been spent. So we spent almost as much time. Like I mean it's lined up pretty well, but maybe an extra 5 minutes or so on just garbage time or stoppage time, as you'd say in football or soccer.
exactly, exactly.
I
So
I
so
know
that's why
sports
I
ball.
think that you know sports ball good, yeah. That's
Go
why I think
team.
that this hey, go team, win the sports, score the
Go
stuff.
Jenner
As someone
team.
who likes sports, oh, I love it. I love it. So I don't think it's going to put a ton of pressure on here. Honestly, I think it's going to be kind of neutral,
Hmm.
if you will. And Hulkbuster, of course, is dazed here, and that I think is a good thing ultimately. And Coffee at this point just has to protect his lead because he is in a very commanding position here. Because frankly, I'm not too afraid of Bullseye if I'm Coffee, and then Sin loaded up on power is solid, but Thanos doesn't have enough power for some Death's Decree action. I don't see any negative for what Coffee's doing here, and it's just protect at this point.
I agree.
Storm has the most
Storm just
damage
wants to
of any
GTFO.
character. Exactly. And now it frees up X-23 to get in there and mess with Sin potentially, which I really like seeing that as well. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll get
I
to see
really I
X-23 roll
really
some
like the
dice.
imagery of Thanos just teleporting around and then throwing a Hulkbuster at Storm, and Storm's like, "Nope, see ya." I'm not sticking around
Exactly.
for this fight.
Not doing it. Not doing it. And I mean, like, it's so interesting right now because you look at like one of the ways I play is I try to say, what is my out? How can I turn this around? Where can I go to score the necessary points to get this to another round, stop my opponent from winning right here? And
That's right. It's very
I
similar to
think
me.
that Killmonger was that?
I said it's very similar to my modus operandi when I play.
Yeah.
I always try
I
to
think
do
that
the thing my
Killmonger
opponent wants the
activation.
least at that point in time.
Exactly. Let me tell you, folks, he did that a lot to me recently. Did that a lot. Like, oh, thanks. This is not helping me at all. But I think that Killmonger activation, kind of falling just one short on Hulkbuster, really messed up the plan for Blake. I think,
Absolutely.
and ultimately, if he'd have been able to get that right there, then he's in a much stronger spot to deny those extra points.
Yeah.
So I
And
think it's gonna be really interesting and really really tough right here.
yeah, I totally agree with that. And if that were me, I think that I might be taking 5 extra minutes off my clock to be like, what, I need a minute after I failed that wipe on Hulkbuster.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You hate to see all those skulls that came up there on that, and that was it. That the dice are going to be your friend, but they're also going to be your enemy at times. And right now, Coffee's sitting on comfortably. He is sitting on 3 points just in the extract game. Not to mention the two secures that he's got on his back line here, and the only character singular left to activate is Sin.
And with her being on our injured side, I really wouldn't relish re-entering the fight at that stage of the game.
No. And Coffee's playing this really smart right here. No reason to go engage Sin, and then you win the game right
That's
there,
right.
just like that.
Yeah, why take a chance on a dice roll? Just sit there. You'd have to. He only needs 4 to get to 16 at this point, and he's got that almost just
Exactly.
in the
And there,
extracts alone.
yep. And you got to also, I think about it. Another thing I think about is, like we said at the beginning of the game, there's 10 total victory points on the board. If you're taking 4 of them to get to 16 and you leave those other 6, it still doesn't get your opponent to victory in this case. So thinking about like I'm all about the simple math, and thinking about the simple math in that way, I'm about that life.
Yeah. And speaking of simple math, I think that's going to do it for this game. I just got word
I
that
think so.
they were going to call it here. So we'll see if the players have some time for some quick questions, and then we can polish it off. So just give
I'd
us
love it. Man, what
one
a
moment.
brisk game. Wow.
Gone are the days of these 3-hour finals, right?
Yeah, I know, right? So it's just 3 hour finals. Shoot, that's child's play.
That's right.
Just ask Morgan
We
about
do
his
4 hour
six-hour
games
final. Just
without.
ask, yeah, you know, some other random people about their super long workday-esque games.
That's right. So we might pop over there in just a moment to see. Oops, to see if the players have anything to offer. Okay. So I'll connect with you on the channel that they have going in the
Yeah,
TTS.
game table 2.
Yep.
I'm
See you
over
over there.
there. Yep.
Almost broad and dominable a bit against you. I wasn't sure if you'd play Thanos at 17, to be honest.
Hey guys.
Yeah. Hey,
Hello,
what's
hello.
going on?
Well, firstly, I want to say great game to both of you, and thank you guys for letting us stream your game for everyone out there that wanted to watch.
Thanks for
Um,
For
streaming,
sure.
man.
So I figured we'd just
Yeah, it
pop
was
in
fun.
for some little post game. I have Will with me here, and so we were talking like right as the stream started to wrap up about clocks, and I noticed that barely any time has passed at all on this 3-round game.
Yeah.
Clocks are dumb. They shouldn't be in the game.
It basically rushed us, and that's the fastest game of MCP I think I've ever played. Like, we played it in an
No kidding.
hour, and the clocks I felt like I was rushed every turn, and so did he, I think. So,
And
Yeah,
yet,
it literally made me make a huge mistake that cost me. I mean, I may not have won, but it definitely made the game like just over.
so it's funny though because I look at the amount of time that both of you gentlemen have used, and it's about even with each other. So you're definitely keeping it neck and neck, but I think what maybe between stoppage time and everything else, you've used 15 minutes off the top of the hour and another 10, so 25 out of an hour and 15. That's not even half.
yeah. Yeah, we probably overly rushed. It's probably, 'cause, I've played a few games with the clock in real life, but this is my first one on TTS, so it was different.
So let me ask you this: if we're looking forward to the future where we play a lot of clock games, or at least maybe we'll accept it for the finals, and it becomes more of a standard. Once it becomes more part of our everyday procedure here, do you think that some of that rushed feeling is going to come away, and that maybe it'll be beneficial in the long run, or do you think it's going
No,
to preserve that tempo or that feeling of pressure?
I think it's an overcorrection from all of the people playing Sam Spam and drawing out like 5 hour long games, and it's not needed in the game.
Who does that?
Well, we don't know anything about that, do we?
No, no, that's never happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
I
Uh,
I think
I think that's a really
a-
interesting point because that's actually one of the things we talked about was the wide activations.
Yeah, I think this was a growing pains kind of for both of us too, if it does go that way. I mean, I know some War Machine players that have played on clocks forever that love it and that are just, and I can't make decisions. I can't even keep up with the board state when they play so fast, and that puts me at a big disadvantage. I just think it's something that over time you slowly get used to, whether or not it's necessary in this game. Like he said, there have been some really long games, but so understand it, but ugh, it does definitely change your mindset when you're playing, and how the game feels. It feels more pressured. It doesn't feel as fun. And I've said this in real life games. It makes the game a little less fun, I feel like, on the clock.
You can't
Until you
I
spend
get
agree.
used to
30 minutes a turn shooting the shit with your opponent.
it. Exactly. We didn't get to talk about anything.
Nothing but the game, nothing but
Yeah, I
business.
could see
Yeah.
that being the big drawback.
I can feel that too.
All game, all business.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll
So,
let time decide that eventually, I think.
Yeah.
Will, any questions?
so Blake, yeah, you said you made a big mistake there because of the clock pressure. You felt like that pressure.
Yes.
I'm just curious what that mistake was.
I intentionally saved 6 power on Killmonger to follow me into Thanos to finish off Hulk and Beast, and that
Like,
if I didn't get the usurp off, and I just was rushed and I clicked the clock and said I was done, and he started his turn,
oh crap.
Oh
and
no.
afterwards I was like, oh, I moved him within 3 on purpose, and because I charged him out of range of Honey Badger into 3 of Thanos, and didn't do the follow up, which would have got the Hulkbuster. It probably would have thrown Hulk into Beast, probably dazed him, and then maybe got Honey Badger on the second attack if it took um, more than one attack. It is what it is, but he would have moved her off the point and took over the Jonathan, and that would have stopped like 4 points right there.
Right.
But I didn't, so it just spiraled out from there.
Yeah. Do you feel like that you were at a disadvantage with the 4 versus 5 wide activation situation and
Nah,
the like so many points on the board?
nah. I mean, this list is all I ever do is play narrow lists. So, like, it's not really that big of a deal for me.
Nice.
The storm surprise over here is just like one shot spin. Kind of caught me by surprise. That kind of made me low. I mean, she only has 4 hit points. It's not that hard to kill her. It's just I wasn't expecting Storm to do it of all people.
You might
I would-
say
oh, yeah.
I would
a stiff
do that.
wind was enough to take her out.
Yeah, like if he would have ran over there with X-23 and killed her, I'd have been like, yeah, cool, that makes sense. But when Storm did it, I'm like, well, shit, now I gotta reach up.
4 days attack, 4
Yeah.
HP. We got this.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was a surprise. I've watched Blake play with his kill Conda, and I'm like, he's bringing Thanos. I was like, I don't know what to do about it, but I was throwing Hulkbuster at you no matter what, and you did a really good job.
Well,
Pushing.
I wanted you to throw Hulkbuster.
I thought you
I would
did.
have been if you would have brought like Magic and Domino instead of Hulkbuster, I'd have been way in the worst position.
Yeah, I was
Like,
hoping to
like
control
how
you
you
the best I
Hulkbusters
could.
for.
Yeah, you got to range 4, and I've measured it out too. If you get to range 4 and push Hulkbuster away, it keeps him really minimal on what he can do to kind of get back into the fight. And that's exactly what you did turn 1. It was played really well.
So
So I was
Blake, I
like,
do
nice.
have a follow-up question on that because you mentioned a second ago that if he brings 2 3-threat characters instead of this 6-threat character, that you're in a much worse spot. Do you think that's because there's a point at which your 4 wide roster here or your 4 wide squad here suddenly can't handle the excess weight of those characters?
I think that's a tricky question. I think it pertains more to the characters he brings, and in that case, Domino and Magic hit like trucks.
I think there's too many points on the board too. I think it's too fast, and if I go that wide, I just don't think he can attrition me fast enough with us scoring 5,
Yeah.
10 points per round.
Well, I mean, there's it goes both ways. It gives me a free usurp. Like
Yeah,
he can
that's
kill
true.
any 3 point in the game in one turn. But
That's what we refer
and then
to
it
as
also lets me
Target-rich environment.
Yeah.
yeah, it also lets me focus down people really easy instead of having to dedicate to Hulk. I could have just I could have killed Beast that first turn with the 2 and then moved on one after the other. And I've done that with Sam Avengers and different people. It's not the target rich environment is it's a different obstacle than having a big guy, and they both have their pros and cons.
That's right. And
Yeah.
and it's a nice flexible field, and we love to see the game thriving in a state like that. I was just talking about how my comfort zone is 5 and 6 wide rosters, just because I like the extra little crumple zone that I get with an extra activation. But it's really great to see all of these players at the top level coming together and playing the list that they like, the squad numbers that they like, and the concept that they and just the characters that they enjoy to put on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he would have ran I was pretty sure he was dropping Hulkbuster into me, and so that changes up my roster. Like my other roster is a little bit different. It's a little bit wider. I run like 3 2s. I run Nebula, Bob, and
I
Bullseye.
thought you would do that. That's what I was afraid of, going super wide with Thanos. That's what I thought you were going to run. That's why I picked 17. I tried to keep it as low as possible.
Yeah, if it was 20, then it would have been I can go like five wide with Thanos at 20, and a Death Degree Nebula just rocketing towards your face
Yeah.
is never a good thing.
Yeah, I did not want to see Nebula on the board, to be honest. Yeah, when I saw your Cabal list, I'm like, I had no idea what you were gonna play, except I know you play Thanos a lot and smash people's face in, and I know you play Killmonger quite a bit with Killconda, so I was like, I think you're bringing Thanos, maybe you're bringing Killmonger, but you also had MODOK and Voodoo in there that could have potentially flexed in. And then I knew you could go wide, so I really had no idea what you were gonna put on the table.
How did that inform your decision to bring Hulkbuster? Is this because you just felt really comfortable with him, is not knowing what he was going to bring?
Yes, because on this scenario, I need all the push I can get on the F secure, and Hulkbuster, I don't feel terrible going into Thanos, but I didn't know if he would do it at 17, and I thought if he brings MODOK, I'm putting Hulkbuster right across from MODOK and just pushing him every turn, all turns.
Forever.
Yeah. So, and I didn't think you'd bring MODOK, but you might have. So at 17, so.
If it wasn't a 5 wide secure, that my 17 is Skull, Thanos, and MODOK.
Oh, nice.
And I get follow me in Cosmic Invigoration. I activate Thanos twice, and then follow me into MODOK.
I was sitting here just shaking my head because that is some real degenerate nonsense there, and I love it.
I was gonna say I was terrified of your Cosmic Invigoration Thanos with the Red Skull. I'm like, he's gonna activate him. If we go like demons or something like that, you're just gonna punch me for days and throw everybody in your like. I was sweating that matchup on either one of your other secures had been drawn.
Yeah, Sin is she's not optimized. This list isn't optimized for Sin. I don't really look at whether her affiliation, like her leadership, works with the matchup. I mostly use her as a points fixer to fit what I need to fit in, and it's not necessarily the best idea. Like I don't think I used her leadership once due to like Honey Badger not counting as securing, so I don't get to push her.
Right.
And then like the spiders being civilians. But yeah, it's mostly just I can get 2 2s and a 3 as my core, and then that lets me put Thanos and whoever else I need in there and like flex it around that.
Nice.
Well, sir, I for one applaud your willingness to innovate and to just be flexible like that. It's too much decision making for me when I start a game. I don't know. If I don't have a cookie cutter formula, I'm useless. So,
I have a cookie cutter. Add Thanos and punch people.
Yeah.
Everything else is secondary.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Exactly.
Guys, thank you so much for letting us come in and to inviting us to be part of your game in the finals. And condolences, Blake. But CoffeeTime, I wish you good luck in your future games.
Thank you.
For sure.
And we'll be,
Good job, Coffee.
I think we'll be closing out. So thanks, everyone. Thank you to Will for joining me on stream and to Shadow Marvel for judging the game today. And
thanks for having me.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Good night.